3. We're on live.
Whoop, whoop. Hey, and welcome back to your favorite trifecta of hatred. This is Killer Cat's Crew. This is Intoxicating, introducing you to our questionable number of episodes here, as I've lost count because yay for alcohol. We are going to be talking about a couple different things. We missed recording last weekend, and that was sad, and we all missed each other very much. So, let's start with some metal news. KP.
Yes, this is a local metal news event. We have a brewing company here called Surly, and they started out really super small, and they've made quite big in the brewing market. And they have a thing every year called Darkness Day, where they put out these bottles of Russian Imperial Stout. Excuse me. And it's on October 24th, and I believe it's the 9th annual Darkness Day. And it's really cool. They have lots of bands, lots of metal, blah, blah, blah. They have lots of food trucks, lots of beer besides the darkness that they put out. I mean, the darkness is black. It's pretty kick-ass, and they have a really cool thing, really cool art every year on the bottle. It's usually horror themed, and I'm not sure what this year is, but they've had vampires and werewolves and you name it, it's been on there. And yeah, they've got a couple of the bands, or one of the bands that I've did the shout outs for before, God Came From Space, they play there. The other bands are Dumpster Juice, Witch Den, The Bloodiest, and Pelican is the headliner this year. So for more details, if you're in the area, although beer nerds come from afar, they've traveled as far from like Louisiana and stay overnight and camp out to get this beer. It's amazing. You can go to surlybrewing.com, and it's a fun event. And it lasts all day. It's outside, rain or shine, and yeah, it's great. So if you can make it, be there. It's fun, and buy some beer, lots of beer. That's my metal news.
So for this week, I didn't find anything that was really good. I'm just wanting to point out that right now the Third Attempt is touring. They are now in the UK, and apparently the guitarist Terje has suffered a finger infection which spread. As we know, when you get an infection and you start seeing this dark line going from that infection up your limb, you're in trouble, and that's exactly what he got. So we're hoping that the surgeries are going to be a success and that he gets to keep his guitar playing nerves in his arms. We are wishing him a speedy recovery, so here's a shout out to Terje of Third Attempt. Get well soon, man. And other guitarists out there, do look out for small cuts and keep your tetanus shots in order, because shit does go down. So that's my metal news for this week. Katie, did you have something for this week?
Yeah, and also definitely get well soon, man, because that is depressing. As if we didn't need enough depressing news this week. So I had to double check this. So there's this is some more local stuff for the New England area. There's a place out here called Ralph's Rock and Roll Diner out in Worcester, Massachusetts. They do metal nights like once a week, but every Halloween they do some awesome cover bands, which I wish I thought of our last recording because we were talking about covers. I know a couple years ago I went, they did like a Dark Throne cover band, and it was like, well, they had like their own music, but they just did covers for that night. It was really fucking good. They have, let's see, wow, they have a bunch of people this year. They have people doing like a Black Sabbath cover band, Alice in Chains, Danzig, Motorhead, Carcass, Dio, throughout 3 days. And I think on Halloween, it looks like they have Enslaved, Emperor, Dragon Force, Mayhem, and Autopsy. And that should be fun. It looks like Sonic Pulse is doing Dragon Force, so that's probably going to be better than the actual band. So definitely go check it out. That's going to be on, let's see here, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which would be the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st down at Ralph's Rock and Roll Diner, which is a great place to get hammered.
I want to go to that.
Yeah. Come on out.
I'll be at a haunted hotel, so
Fine.
I'll be getting scared by a real ghost, apparently. So, yeah.
Guess that's a little bit better, I guess.
Haunted
Alright.
hotels.
So that kind of brings us to our main topic. Nelly, I know you have some stuff you want to talk about as far as routines go of something or other that I forget the topic. I'm
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, it comes down to handling depression and when everything gets fucked up. How do you get over it? How do you live through it? And how do you take care of the shit that needs to be done when you're down and out of the game completely? Well, for myself, yeah, there's been some rough times recently. A lot of stress, a lot of shit going down. And I know I'm not the only one. There's something about this fall 2015 that's bringing everybody down for one reason or another. And everybody's got their own tricks to get over it. And I'm not including the tricks that include taking a bunch of benzos and saying goodnight forever. I'm talking about the stuff that keeps us going, even when we really can't. For me, it's usually routine. If you stick to something, if you make lists and make sure you know what has to be done, and if you just get yourself up and going, and then just stick to the stuff you do every morning. Put on deodorant, put on your clothes, feed the cat, take your meds, do everything in the right order and just stick to that and just look what's next on that list of things that need to be done and just take it step by step. That's what helps me, besides the animals, of course. I mean, cats and dogs are both wonderful things to get over your bad feelings. But what about you guys? What do you guys do when you wake up feeling that you just want to go back to sleep? What's the trick?
Well, I have lately have had really bad anxiety, and usually it happens when I'm at work, which is really bad because I work around big machinery, which is going 1,000 miles an hour, and it freaks me out because I'm afraid I'm going to get sucked into my machine and I'm just going to forget everything I'm supposed to do. And that's all routine too, is working on those machines. So the tricks that I use is I have to acknowledge that I'm having that anxiety attack, and I have to like tell myself that this is an attack. The worst of it's over now. I know what's going on. I can handle it from here. And the next thing I do is I try and breathe. Either that, I try and walk outside and try and just get a hold of myself and breathe. And even if that's including smoking a cigarette, that's breathing. But it's just to get out of my head for a second and focus on something else. And breathing usually helps. I try to connect somehow with my body to, like I said, get out of my inside my head. And a lot of times what I'll do is I trace the tattoos on my hands, because then it's like I'm touching something and I can, kind of focus on that. And it's weird because they're all lines, as you can see. So it's like, okay, just trace, just trace, just trace, just trace. Think about that. Think about that. And another thing I try to do is try to talk to somebody. As much as I hate talking to people at work, because there's only 9 of us on my shift, and I usually have headphones in, or I'm playing solitaire while my press is running, or something. I just stay to myself, but I'll go blurt out something stupid just to talk to somebody for a second. So, yeah. And then also when I'm outside, I've actually taken my shoes off and like put my feet in the grass just to get into some kind of nature. We have a nice big cherry tree that or cherry blossom tree or crabapple tree or something like that, and I'll just go lean on it and smoke my cigarette and try to calm down. And that's like my list of things that I try to do to get out of my head and just acknowledge that, okay, the worst is over. I can continue and not run, because that's the first thing I want to do is, I'm out of here. I gotta go. And I hate that feeling. Like, I gotta fucking go. I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna fucking kill somebody or I'm gonna kill myself. And it's like, no, just calm down and chill. Just chill for a minute and then you'll get past it. So that's how my routine works. And it took a long time for me to acknowledge that it actually works and not just drugs. Because yeah, I'm on the drugs for all that stuff too, but you gotta do more than that. And to acknowledge that you have to work at it, it's a pain in the ass, but it does work. I mean, you just gotta find something that works for you. And yeah, that's my thing for anxiety anyway. I got a whole other thing for depression and everything else. Depression is like, wine, woohoo. We'll worry about that later. Katie, what do you do?
Well,
What are your tricks of the trade for dealing with mental illness?
does not go over very well. So I've been able to figure out like when things are coming, so I can kind of like try to focus on some stuff. Putting this festival on was like a huge like, oh my god, I need to do something with my life that's not just sitting here. So that was huge, but this was the 3rd year that around the same time I found I needed to get the fuck out of here for a little bit. Get away from work, get away from everybody, just because I tend to put my stuff on like the back burner, and I'll take care of like everybody else, which that's fine, that's what I do, but then eventually it kind of like just tidal waves, and I just kind of have to take myself out of the situations. And luckily I have an amazing brother and sister-in-law up in Maine, and they live in the middle of nowhere. It's great. It's in the middle of a farm. So I tend to need to take, a week or two of sabbatical and just go up there and kind of unplug. This year I did keep my phone on just because there was some other stuff going on with a friend back home that I didn't want to just like totally leave her high and dry, but lots of nature walks and just kind of getting away from the technology side of things, and focusing on yourself. And that's huge because a friend of mine, Mooney, you're going to hate me when you listen to this because I'm using you as an example, but he even said, he was out at a show the other night, and he's one of those friends that everybody goes to, like, if they need to talk to, and he was on his phone at the show, and one of his buddies came over and was like, dude, put your fucking phone away and listen to the band. And he was like, oh man, I can do that. Like, I can put everybody else on hold and enjoy what I'm doing at this moment. But it's something that a lot of people forget that they can do sometimes, and they forget to take care of themselves for it. So I find it very helpful to be able to get away. Obviously, that is not always the option. Luckily, like I said, I have my brother that let me stay up there, and I had some extra money saved. But sometimes your job doesn't like when you do that, and they fire you, which is, a whole nother line of BS right there. But it's helped. It definitely helps to have friends in different areas that you can go and disappear to for a little bit. And that's kind of like my last resort of like, this is getting really fucking bad and I need to get out of here. Otherwise, I kind of do the same thing you were talking about. Just, try to breathe. Try to, keep a routine of, making sure I do something. Mine is mostly get up, shower, go get a coffee, and hope that nobody pisses me off between here and the coffee shop. But yeah, that would be my go-to for those types of situations.
Yeah, there's a topic you touched there, which is how work and job environments handle mental health issues. One might think that in Scandinavia maybe it would be better because Scandinavia is so cool, but here's the thing, it's not. It's shit. It's having a mental health issue is like telling them that you're too hungover to come to work. They are not buying it. I've had people tell me when I showed up with a paper from, for example, from a psychologist, it's like if I have a paper that says that this person should be completely taken off work for a month or so, or even more. So when I've come to work with that paper, I've had bosses tell me that, well, if you're just gonna stay home, well, you just work via email. Cool. And I'm just like, no, that's not what this says. This says that I cannot do work at all right now. And they're like, well, what? Do you want to like quit? And you're left standing there just completely wishing to having a gun and blowing their brains out. And then probably yours. That's, I think that however rough it sounds, a mental health issue should be taken as seriously as if somebody came to you and told you that they have cancer and need to stay home for whatever period of time. I think that's how important it is, and that's how seriously it should be taken. But our society it's thousands of miles away from that. It's just fucked up. That's my thoughts on work and mental health issues. Fuck them. They don't understand. All they care about is their corporate money. Their corporate money and the people who are working, well, they're just numbers on a paper.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yep. And it really sucks. Like, with what I see KP is getting attacked by Aja. So with what bothers me too is like when, obviously I just lost my job over this, and like I had found everybody to work a shift for me, so not even like they were like short-handed by any means. And I'm just like, dude, and they were like, well, it's not a health issue. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure manic depressive disorder or bipolar disorder, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is a medical issue. Pretty sure I have meds for it. I will bring them in so you can see them. But you're right, like it's still not treated as it should be, and it really sucks because I see a lot of younger kids going through it too. And I was a manager at a coffee shop. Like this one girl, she had a lot of problems, and she was too scared to even mention it to people because she wasn't getting the help she needed, and it really fucking sucks to see that.
See, that's bullshit.
So please, somebody change something somewhere.
That's bullshit because I'm actually covered under FMLA for my anxiety. So I can take time off at work for anxiety.
The fuck am I doing wrong?
So you just have to fill out all that paperwork, and it's bullshit. They'll give you the runaround because they don't want you to do it. But So yeah, that's total bullshit that they fired you for that. I still say you should fight it.
Oh, I'm in the process. I am
Yep.
very much in the process.
There's actually a law in Finland, which is the most fucked up thing ever, is that if you go to a doctor and for some reason they manage to write into the report that you are suffering from, that you are exhausted because of working too much, which is something that depressed people can really relate to, like getting too exhausted for doing too much. If somebody writes that down in a report, you can consider yourself out from all sickness leave pays, from all possible monies you could get from being fired, from everything. If that, even if it says that you're depressed, but if somewhere in there it says that you've been exhausted by work, you're cut off. Society doesn't give a shit about you after that. That's fucked up. And as you can imagine, those fucking doctors that work for your workplace, those doctors and firms that have been hired to take care of just one company's people, those are the ones that really make sure that somewhere in there it does say just that, so that your company will never be responsible. Hey ho for corporates.
Bullshit. Jesus.
Makes me so mad. So mad.
In the end, you should just have, when thinking about work, the best thing to have would be to have your own small firm taking care of its own shit, and you should have like the people, just a few people working for you, and you would all be like tight-knit friends, and you would actually keep friendship and work connected, and then take all the money for yourselves and just share it. I mean, that would be the only function that, I mean, that would be the only thing that would function in today's world, to make it so that it would be ethical, right, just, and you could still make a living. That's the only way to go. I see no other way in today's corporate world.
Yeah, it's
So when do we start?
Yeah!
Now!
People need to start giving us money. Crap.
We need a sponsor. I'm gonna hit up Surly, since I'm good friends with those guys. So, hey man, you guys need to sponsor us.
Just give me money.
Yep. Give us a little bit of. Just a little bit. Come on.
I really, whenever this stuff happens, I just think of Guar's song "Bring Back the Bomb," and I'm just like, that song nails it. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
Like, that's my feeling towards all of this. It's bad. I mean, I know over here, I one of the job applications I filled out was just like, oh, check here if you have a disability, and I clicked no because I was just like, don't have a disability. But then I was reading the list, and it was just like depression, bipolar disorder, blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I do have a disability. Click. Don't get high.
Yeah, it's kind of like, have you ever had medication for depression? Yeah, I done that. Okay, you will never get life insurance. You will never get health insurance. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just really dumb.
You'll never get a conceal and carry permit. Ever.
Well, conceal and carry permit. I think that would be okay here, actually.
With depression? I'm moving to Sweden.
You just have to start that cleaning company, guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cleaning company.
Yep.
Cleaning company.
I gotta learn how to walk in heels, damn it.
Yes, quite. I wonder if we could get money that way. Alright, we will learn how to walk in heels if you give us $100 each.
Yep. Yep.
Precisely.
Yep.
Yep.
And I will post the videos of me falling on my ass every 5 seconds.
Do that ankle thing.
I don't want to
Yeah,
scrape
I
my
can't
ankle.
do that.
Nope. They have to buy the
But
heels
yeah,
first.
yeah, heels kill you.
Yes.
Of course, they were invented by men.
Ugh.
That's true.
Men.
For men.
Men.
Let's not go there.
Anyways, how do we segue to the next topic?
What's the next topic? This is I'm the worst host of the
American
show ever.
Horror Story.
Oh yes!
Yay!
I didn't watch this
Although
week yet.
I haven't watched
spoil
this
it.
week's either. Obviously, I can't
I haven't
because
either.
I've watched the first one
Cool.
and I've watched all the other ones. So my thing is I looked up the real life meaning behind their hotel. So that's what I was going to talk about. So along with the first episode because I did see that. So
Bring it on.
bring it on. AHS Hotel is actually based on Hotel Cecil, or Cecil, however they want to pronounce it, which is now called Stay on Main in LA, California, in the U.S. It was built in 1924, and it was meant for business travelers, and it wound up being a hotel for transients. And it's renowned for its paranormal activity. It's known for its several suicides and criminal activity, which includes 3 murders. Richard Ramirez, the serial killer, stayed there, as did Jack, how do I say his name? Unterweger. I can't say his name. He stayed there in 1991. It's also rumored that Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia, she stayed there too back in the day. But it's recently known for its Elisa Lam odd death. She's the girl that was found nude in the water tank on top of the hotel.
Oh,
And,
yeah, I remember that
hotel?
one.
Yep.
Oh
and
my god, I didn't know that
they
was
have
that
the-
hotel.
Yeah, they have the weird footage of her in the elevator, talking
That's
to
so
nobody
creepy.
and hiding from nobody. They didn't know if.
That
Yep. So that's the hotel that American Horror Story based their new series on. So that's what I got. So, and then of course the first episode was excellent. I wasn't too sure because I'm not a big Lady Gaga fan, but I like that they brought the vampire edge into it because I love vampires. Now,
And I think that when the episode started, I was also a bit skeptic because you don't know how it's going to turn out. Their storytelling lacks a lot of, I think, direction in most of the previous seasons. And that's probably true even now, but this time I found that they actually went straight to the point with some of the storylines. And that was okay, but what made it the best season for me yet is the visuals and the soundtrack. The visuals, taking some from example, Kubrick Shining, and just bringing the retro old hotel, dark woods and dark colors, that kind of, old-time hotel magic into the visuals, and pairing that up with 80s goth rock scene, like all the neon, all the clothes, and topping that off with 80s, 90s goth rock, like good choices in music, not the most obvious choices, but choices that fit the atmosphere perfectly. I think that made the whole atmosphere better than any of the previous seasons. And when Gaga comes on screen for the first time, she fits in. She's her true self, as in she looks this how should I put it? Like, if you think of the goth rockers of the 80s, you think of this, maybe first you think of Patricia Morrison, like a pin-up goth girl. But in reality, the girls of the goth rock scene were more on the ugly side, as in they were like giving the visuals of being ugly in a beautiful way, in a picturesque way. And that's what Gaga does. When she comes on the screen, she's like almost like no makeup, just the base makeup, and being there just in that very true gothic ugly style. And I loved it. I seriously loved it.
She looked like a statue. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And
It was beautiful.
yeah. And the guy she has her little consort.
Yeah, that's like
I love
the concert thing, as in you have the if you go back to the vampire themes of throughout history. Well, okay, that the concert theme is maybe something that's brought on by literature instead of the real origins of the myth. But anyway, bringing back that 1800s vampire master and his or her consort, bringing that back. Oh, thumbs up from me.
I love that, and this isn't a spoiler, but when she said to his mother that he has a jawline for days, and it was like, oh yeah, he does. That was nice.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to watch the new week's episode, but since last week, when it aired, I was up in Maine, and my sister-in-law is obsessed with that show. So she's like, "You have to stay up and watch it with me." And I was like, "Okay, this is really late." 'Cause I normally go to bed at 8, but since then it's all on Netflix. So me and Morg have been watching all the other seasons, and I am a huge fan of the show right now. And it's all due to the camera angles that they use. I find it to be like super stressful watching it because of all the camera angles that they use. Just kind of like they've picked really interesting positions where it just makes you uneasy while you're watching a scene progress. And I'm a geek when it comes to that type of stuff in the movies. So I'm just like, oh my god, this is brilliant. Because it's something so subtle that you don't really notice unless you're looking for it. And it's just like, man, psychology in movies is great. And I like that you had mentioned the movie Shining, because the carpet in this new season was giving me the chills because of the carpet from that movie in the hotel there. And I was just like, oh my god, this is great. But yeah.
Katie and I were talking a couple days ago, and I told her that Art Deco style in the American Horror Story Hotel, it reminds me of the Ambassador Hotel in Milwaukee. That looks just like that. So you have to see it, Nellie. So you have to come to the Midwest and at least try and stay at the Ambassador Hotel. It's a beautiful hotel, and it's just
I definitely need to do that.
Of course, it has that creep factor thanks to Dahmer, which we talked about before. But yeah, it has that same, it's beautiful like that, and it's just, it's cool.
Perfect.
I plan. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking that maybe we're gonna take the topic of old buildings up again in a episode later.
We have a lot of them in Boston.
We have a lot more there than we do in the Midwest. We like to knock them down here, so idiots.
We got a haunted subway and everything. And it is Halloween week or month, so we can talk about haunted things next week.
Yes, we should definitely do that.
Yay.
So, for this week's shout-outs then, for this week, the only thing I have is actually American Horror Story Hotel. If you haven't seen the first episode yet, go and take a look, and do move on to the next episode as well. It's on FX, lyrics, and all your local torrent services, I'm told. I wouldn't know anything about that. Chrissy, what do you have shout out for this week?
My shout out is for a band called Power Mad. I don't know if you guys have heard of them or not. They've actually toured a lot in Europe, and they're actually from Minneapolis, and they made it quite big in the late 80s and early 90s. And they just put out a brand new album, and the last album they put out came out in 1989. And it actually ties into my metal news because the head brewmeister at Surly Brewing is Todd Haug, and Todd Haug is the guitar player for Power Mad. And they're quite a good metal thrash band. And their new album is called Infinite, and it was just released on October 9th. October 9th. And it's Todd Haug on guitar, Joel Dubea's vocals, as always, Jeff Lidke on bass, and they just secured Dirk Verburen from Soilwork. I think I pronounced that right. And he's their drummer. He's been their drummer since 2011, and I actually got to see him play with them because they actually played a show at one of the Darkness Days, which was kick-ass. I got to stand in the front row and scream out all the lyrics. I actually quoted those guys in my senior yearbook, and I became friends with Todd through my best friend because she started working with him. And Power Mad is great. You should check them out. They're a great band. And check out their other albums. They have an EP that came out in '88 called The Madness Begins. And then their other LP, which was Absolute Power, came out in '89. And like I said, from '89 to 2015, now we have Infinite, and I haven't actually downloaded it yet. I'm waiting to buy it, and yeah, I'm excited because I've loved those guys since high school, and that's my shout out. I was hoping they'd play Darkness Day this year, but they're not, and kind of do the new album, but they're not. I'm a little sad about that, but I'm sure they'll tour Europe. They toured a lot. Like I said, they toured Europe a lot over the last few years, and they love them over there. People love them. So it's just that classic thrash, and they're great. So that's my shout out. And I'm going to tell them, guys, that I shouted out to them on my podcast.
Noise.
Because I'm friends with them, motherfuckers.
Awesome. Let's see. So I have two things, kind of. So I came across, and I know that a lot of people get mad when people use YouTube to find bands, but that's what I do because I'm lazy. But sometimes it comes up with some cool stuff. I haven't looked into these guys much more than having, posted about it a day or two ago, but this band Skyforest from Russia, and I think I'm, way behind in the times of finding these people. But yes, skyforest.bandcamp.com. They're a melancholy black metal project of some kind. But I stumbled across them the other day, and they were fantastic. And I saw that a bunch of my friends over here like them. They have thousands of likes on Facebook. I was like, well, I might be behind the times on this a little bit, but whatever. And also, as far as TV show goes, obviously American Horror Story, and we haven't talked about this much, but I have this problem of really liking Sean Bean, even though he dies and everything. And I just found the show called Legends that is on Netflix, and it's very awesome. And I finished the whole season today, and I suggest people go watch it if you like spy, conspiracy theory type shows. Oh, and we haven't done Badass Lady of the Week. Nelly, you are the Badass Lady of the Week. Put up with all of us. You get
I'm a small person, very small person. I'm very nice. I never harm anything.
But it's you and Katza. You guys are the badass chicks of the week.
Yep. That is our pick for that.
We take that title with, we are very proud of having it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess this badass title wraps it up for this week. This is Nello telling you to go and check our website, killercatscrew.com, and our Facebook, facebook.com/killercatscrew. Go and comment, tell your friends, and tune in next week again as we probably gonna take our pick on some haunted locations, haunted hotels and stuff. It's gonna be fun. So that's bye-bye from Nello.
Bye. This is Key to the motherfucking P. Toodles.
Yeah!
Alright, this is Katie signing out. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye!